Welcome to today's episode of European Project PleaseAsk podcast. In this conversation, we sit down with the creative team behind the Super Hyper Megamax Quantum Computer Show, artistic director Reka Deak from Dafa Theater, scientific consultant Aurél Gábris, and one of the performers, Mariana Čížková. Together, we explore how a group of artists and scientists decided to take on the seemingly impossible task of creating a puppet performance about quantum physics for young audiences. Let's dive into the world where science meets puppetry and where curiosity becomes a superpower.
Reka, you are the artistic director of this show. Can you tell us what was the first spark behind making a puppet show about quantum computing for pretty much young kids?
There was no spark, to be honest. It was Husam's invitations to be part of this project. Like this, we can call it spark, probably.
Okay. Husam being the co-founder of Dafa Puppet Theater.
Yes, Husam is the co-founder of the Puppet Theater, and he is the initiator of this project, PleaseAsk, together with Dimitar and Pro Progressione from Hungary.
Okay. And Aurél, you're the scientific consultant of this project. What was your first reaction when you heard, let's make a puppet show for young audience about quantum physics?
My first reaction was, yes! We're going to make another puppet show about quantum physics because we have already made one with puppets. And we have actually been waiting for the opportunity to be able to continue and expand what we started.
So, and when we talk about the process of creating this show, were the actors part of the creative process? Mariana, did you feel like you were like an equal partner or almost equal partner in the process?
Yeah, very much. I think we got, in the beginning, there was a script, and so there was kind of first impulse. But from this moment, I felt like we are more working like as it is a device project, so we are all part of a team, and we were all trying to collaborate together to create a show.
And how much did you know about quantum physics before the show? And did you feel like you had to learn, or I guess yes, because since you were part of the process that you had to learn? So.
Yeah, I had to learn. And I have to say, when I discovered it's about quantum physics, we were sitting around the table, and I very secretly took out my phone. And under the table, I started searching for like what quantum decoherence is. So, and while I was nodding, my head was nodding, and I was reading like, what is that? What is that? So I didn't know almost anything about the quantum physics. So it was also fun.
I think that's what pretty much we all did when we met you for the first time, Aurél. We took notes secretly to Google things later.
Actually, for me, it was kind of iterative process because I started like this. I don't know quantum physics. I'm unable to understand. I will focus on the theater, what I know. And I started to focus and do something, write the play or rehearse. And I get stuck because I needed to understand quantum physics. Otherwise, the theme, I lost it. Like I started again to study. I arrived to some level and I said, okay, I need to put my knowledge about quantum physics in the background, focus on the theater. I focus on the theater. I get lost. I needed to relearn or revisit or ask again Aurél and then put it in the background and again and again.
You wanted to say something?
I wanted to put it into maybe try to build it into a context, putting together everything that you said so far. So for me, the important part was really the co-creation, that everyone was involved in every step and to be able to be involved, we had to learn each other methods. I had to learn about your methods. I had to learn your vocabulary as well, because there are things that I didn't know before even, that they existed. And it's the same thing, that for you to be able to be part of the co-creation on quantum physics, the artists also had to learn about quantum physics. And this first meeting, the first encounter, was also very difficult for me, because immediately I got this question: so what is quantum decoherence? And why, if I had already an answer to tell you right on the spot, I would already know what the results should be. So in fact, for me, finding the answer, how to answer this question to you, I had to go through this process. So we had to go through this process, where in the end we had an understanding of what we were after.
Wow. And how long did it take from the first idea to the premiere? Because I think you were, Reka and Aurél, you were meeting before our first meeting, I think, right? You had some idea already, you chose...
If I remember correctly, we had a few online meetings in February, starting in February 2024, and then we met here and there, where we were trying to figure it out, how to do it.
Yes, because when you came to the first meeting, you already had the idea about the fairy tale, right? You had like basic idea how you're gonna base the performance.
No, I don't remember these details. In terms of what we were playing around and toying around with different ideas, and what the other ideas were, I don't remember. It was clear that it needs to be beyond our previous project, which was about the simplest thing, about superposition. We had our previous show was about that. So it was clear that we want to go beyond and explore what is beyond that. And decoherence sounded something that, while being very difficult concept, even for researchers, how to capture that, it looked like that it's a good candidate. And in the end, as we went on with the discussions, this is what we ended up doing. And I think the story was the same. Like, we knew roughly that it would be based on some, but maybe you can also tell this what was the initial idea and how.
So I remember talking about stories like Little Red Riding Hood, the Ottsakiters, these Czech fairy tales. They also have it now in cartoon.
Otesánek, you mean?
Yes.
Otík, I think it was called in English, the movie.
Yeah. So we talked about that one as well, about doing Minecraft stories.
Yeah.
No, like we...
Yeah, I think that the idea was that you wanted something that children are familiar with, so they don't have to concentrate on the story, right? They
I wanted to have a
physics.
narrative which doesn't require effort from the children to follow up, because I had the sense that quantum physics is hard science, and we don't want to overwhelm them, but rather give the feeling of getting closer to quantum physics.
So in the end, it was based on the 7 goat links.
Yes.
And the main character, she was actually the decoherent she-wolf. And I think, especially after the last performance, I think she was such a strong, almost horror-like image. So how did you come up with that? Or it was natural because she's the wolf is the villain, so, right? So that's why you chose...
So it was a choice of how to represent the decoherence. I believe that when you do science theater, the 2 poles are doing experiments, real science on the stage. Like, I don't know, if we talk about gravity, then maybe you can create a theater space. There is no gravity. I'm not brainstorming or something, but the science is present,
Right.
sensible on the stage. And the other pole is use metaphors. And since we do quantum physics, it's impossible to do the version A because we don't have the technology for it. We don't have the money for that technology, of course. So we can do only metaphor. And then with the decoherence was a choice of a metaphor, that the decoherence is interfering everywhere. And then the idea started to evolve that we have the story, so it should be the wolf. If it's always interfering, then the story probably is a good choice, because in the story it's changing the shape. Like, there are different variations, but sometimes she eats honey or eats a carrot, and then he has the soft voice and put the hands in flower or painting or something. And then we just evolve this idea on the stage with Ariana and Jakub.
You seem like you had a real fun playing her. Was your favorite character?
The wolf?
Yes.
I think my favorite character is the little girl.
The little girl, yeah.
But if I can go a bit back for the stage metaphor with the wolf, I think with the object or puppet theater, you really speak in a visual language. So we really made two worlds, world of coherence and quantum computing, when it was super cute, houses and puppets, and it was all wooden and with beautiful bright colors. And then we had decoherence, chaos, that was represented with the metallic world. So you can obviously see it's two things, and there is kind of tension from the very beginning. You see this, and it's also a mystery.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also in the end, we learned that the villain is actually not a villain.
Exactly.
It's present everywhere. So, and during the process, were there any moment where like the theater logic or the artistic logic clashed with the scientific logic? Was there, can you share maybe an interesting moment where you were trying to like figure out the balance between the science and the art language?
The end.
Yes, the ending scene was really crucial because with the theater knowledge we knew where we need to get. Then with the science it was kind of not possible. Then we had some scientific things we needed to communicate that needed to happen, and we were looking for a theatrical way. This took us a long time.
Yes, exactly. Because from dramaturgical point of view, in the end, the wolf should die, because these fairy tales are about the harmony is destroyed in the world. The kids are eating, there is danger, but in the end, this harmony is restored, and the wolf is defeated, and the kids can live in harmony. The kids can live in harmony, but the quantum-wise, we cannot say that we kill the wolf, we kill the decoherence. Not to kill, I mean like to eliminate, let's say that to defeat the decoherence, because decoherence is present, and this is a big, it's a big clash.
So what was the balance you were aiming for between like the humor, fantasy, and the actual scientific accuracy?
Good balance.
Good balance.
Thank you.
I think we really wanted a lot of humor to be there, and so we took every chance we could for jokes we could add. But yeah, there are parts that are almost horror-like. Then there are parts that are kind of very, very, very super short lectures. So I think that's also why this performance is interesting, that it has a variety of things in it. and it's amusing, and if you are watching it, it's always something happening, and it's changing all the time, and you have always something to look at, follow, think about, be curious all the time.
And you were overseeing the accuracy, Aurél, right? Are you happy? Do you think it's that the quantum physics concept were represented well in the show?
Yes. So first of all, the basic aim was to make sure that whatever we say is accurate. And the second one was to make the show entertaining and engaging. And then have just enough content to make things work. And the because it's a puppet show, and it's about the visuals, about the actions, and not about dialogues, and not about content, and the audience are also young children. The idea was to not to try to give them answers, but to present questions, pose questions to them, and I think this is where the in the end the conflict is deep down there, because maybe it's a larger conflict that people expect answers from science, but science has more questions than answers. And to defeat the wolf, we would need to answer a question. So why the wolf is not defeated in the end, because how to defeat the wolf is an open question.
Interesting. And how does the audience react? Do you feel like they're enjoying the show? Because there's young audience, and usually young audience brings the adult audience as well. Do you think it's equally entertaining for both the adults and kids? Because from my point of view, I think it is. I saw adults laughing and kids laughing. But how do you feel?
I brought my kids, and they have seen it just once, and it has been like some months ago. But they still are quoting some things from the show, so I think it had some impact, and they are having their favorite jokes. And then with my husband, we discussed the physics. So I think it is entertaining for everyone.
And is there any special moment on the stage for you, either moving or really funny or something that you could point out from your perspective?
It's always super amusing when something you don't expect happen. Like today, we lost the wolf's arm in the middle of the show. That was perfect. that was fun. But personally, I really enjoy. And almost in the end of the performance, there we have just a very beautiful visual images with the lights. And that's the moment when I'm just kind of helping, and mostly Jakub is doing this, and I can just enjoy this and sit there, and I really have this kind of, wow, it's always so beautiful. I love this scene.
What about for you? Is there a favorite moment of the show?
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to answer the previous questions. And now you said that your children, and I remembered my child, and we realized that everybody at this table has children. So for my child, the little girl was she remembered 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago, the little girl. And honestly, for me, this is such a good feeling, or it talks about the success of the performance, because my daughter remembered a little girl in the performance who succeeded against all odds, and she gets closer to quantum physics, and I mean that's valuable. And now I can answer the question what I forgot.
Okay, maybe the balance or the special moment, audience reaction.
The special moments. So I really love the shadow scene, what Mariana just mentioned. I think it has a special beauty. And in the last 2 performances, which happened to be in Bulgaria, I really loved the motion. And here maybe I should mention Veronika Traburova, the scenographer, who designed these 2 contrasting worlds, the wooden, colorful, soft world of the children and the rectangular, metallic world of the decoherence wolf. And the circular table has a spinning mechanism, and each time they spin it, it's reflecting the light, and this light is just spread on the audience and on the actors and on the puppets, and that's so beautiful.
What about you, Aurél? Do you have a favorite moment of the show?
Visually for me, but it's striking me visually when the wolf turns into dissolves. For me, this is somehow the strongest. But I somehow, I don't know how we got there, but I have the feeling that there is such a complexity, and what amuses me about this show is the complexity of I understand when I listen to the description of the artistic content and the message, that there are so many things that we are telling, and I think that's probably why we have generally very large degree of engagement from the adults, from the small children, from the teenagers. They all, and I think it has to do with the complexity, that everyone finds something that they enjoy, and then they can connect with. And I also know how complex are the symbolisms that we bring from quantum, that when there are the superficial questions, then those can be easily answered, but there are also, you can go deep, if there are follow-up questions, just ask about the thermometer, and then from the thermometer I can go on and then connect then eventually the other things that appear there. And I really like that, and it's from the conversations that I understand how interconnected they are.
Yeah, I love that there's so many little elements that the kids can pick up on, like you mentioned the thermometer, or why there's an ice cream, and you can start talking about the temperatures, and then there's really a lot of symbols within the show that are really meaningful. And what would you wish for children or adults, the audience in general? What would you wish to take away from the performance? I think you mentioned maybe that science is more questions than answers, or is there something else?
What I wanted to achieve is that they first hear these words about quantum bits, about quantum computers, and in a friendly and welcoming kind of environment, in a pleasant environment, so that the next time they hear it, it's already, I've heard this before somewhere, and I actually relate to this in a positive way, rather than being scared when you hear embedded into some technical jargon, or you hear it from your teacher and you're confused how you're going to get a grade from this.
What about you, Reka?
It's pretty similar to what Aurél said, that I would love at least a few kids who are in the audience to have the feeling about quantum physics, that it's reachable for them personally, not to have the feeling but I had that not enough for quantum physics. But that they can get closer. You say decoherence for a child from the audience doesn't get scared that it's too complex or something I will never be able to understand, but it has some memory that to what it can relate.
Yeah, I completely agree. to get them curious about quantum physics. And as we all mentioned, this show has very many layers. So for me, it's also a layer about little girl trying to convince her father that she might actually be right at some point. So I hope all the kids also come back home with this feeling that, okay, my parents are great, I love them, but they might not be right about everything in the world, and I can have my own opinion, and sometimes I need to really express myself like, now I really want to try my idea on my own. Give me the space.
Nice.
Thank you.
I think that's a nice ending. Right? Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to add? Or
I hope one day someone will get a Nobel Prize for physics and they will say, you know, when I was a child, I watched this fantastic show and I got inspired to study physics.
that's what actually Aurél suggested today to the audience.
Yeah.
That maybe one of the kids present will be the one who will create the quantum computer.
I would be happy if we shared the show. And I just realized now with Aurél, and today Mariana Filipova joined our performance to help us to translate and to transmit some quantum terms for the children in Bulgarian. And that maybe scientists can use the metaphors from our performance in their lectures or to illustrate their talks.
Yeah. So you think any of you would collaborate again in a science and art project again? Do you see, or we talked about this already?
I think for me it opened completely new field of possibilities.
Yeah, I need to find something concrete and with concrete people, and that then I would have a vision or a goal or a reason why I'm doing it. I'm really open.
Yeah, it was very, for me it was very nice to see the other projects here, and it really revealed to me that if you want to create something good, you have to invest a lot of work into it. And I wish I had again in my life so much time to dedicate to an art project. I don't know if it will happen, because it takes dedication, and if you don't, then it doesn't work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.